When we became independent, Nehru was asked by people, what kind of an independent India do you want to see? Nehru's instant reply, because of his training and education and everything, was, his instant response was that, okay, I want a democratic kind of India to build in this country. The same question was asked to Gandhiji. Gandhiji ने कहा कि देखो भाई, I am not very well versed in these European ideas. Democracy, parliamentary democracy, this democracy, that I'm not so very well versed. I just want an India which is Ram Rajya. But then Gandhi explains. He says, by Ram Rajya, I do not mean theocracy. ఇక్కడ ఏదో మతరాజ్యం తీసుకురావాలని కాదు నా ఉద్దేశం. By Ram Rajya, what I mean is that the weakest shall have as much power as the strongest. The last man on the street shall also feel that confidence, that power, as the first man in probably the power, portals of power. Dindal Upadhyaya, who is the ideological fountainhead of most of us, all the organizations we belong to, he used to say that democracy for India means consensus building. Sarva Sahamati hai Loktantra. Building consensus, building unity, that should be India's model of democracy. That was Ram Rajya. So when we talk about Vikasit Bharat, these fundamentals should not be forgotten. But for any country to be really a Vikasit country, really a Vikasit Bharat, especially for a country like Bharat, which has a history of how many thousand years now? We do not know. If I say 5 millennia, some people may take objection. But for an ancient country like ours, there should be at least 5 important elements of this Vikasit Drusya that we should be able to experience in 2047. The first is clarity about our identity. Who are we? Are we clear? Do you want to be your own self, or you want to be a carbon copy of somebody else? Biggest problem for us right from the independence has been that we are pushed into a big confusion and dilemma. If you stand up and talk about your own self, your own culture, your own religion, your own traditions, your own practices, you are afraid that you will be branded a fundamentalist, illiberal fellow, anti-secular fellow, you are a communalist. The problem is we accepted these benchmarks. Not that they are our benchmarks. We never set those benchmarks. मैंने कहा था, गांधी जी ने कहा कि रामराज्य बनाओ. हमने क्यों नहीं माना? हमको लगा कि नहीं, रामराज्य अगर हम कहेंगे तो यूरोप वाला क्या कहेगा? हम Americans, what would they say about us? So we actually needed validation from those people who did not have any history. Their political ideas had just 2 or 3 centuries of history. All the political ideas that originated in countries like Europe, or for that matter America, had only 200 years, 300 years of history. But we accepted those as benchmarks. अगर उसके साथ हम नहीं रहेंगे, हमारे मन में गिल्ट है. अरे अगर ऐसा है तो लोग हमको क्या ब्रांड कर देंगे. May I tell you, this sense of diffidence, this sense of guilt began right from the time of our constitution making. Nehruji's famous speech was there in the Constituent Assembly, in which he says, you know, when we are at this great transformative moment of independence, I just remember this grand 5,000-year history of my country. I get bewildered. I get intimidated. मुझे डर लगता है. क्या मैं 5,000 साल इतिहास वाले देश का, can I be the representative leader of this country, this great ancient country? I get bewildered. I get intimidated. These are Nehru's words. मेरा शब्द नहीं है, ना पदाल का भी. And he says there is a great future. That future also intimidates me. So Nehru found an easy way out. He said, why to get intimidated by this history, this great past of ours? Ignore that past. Simply copy from the Europeans. Friends, we have today come to a stage where we have to reject those benchmarks. Do we need certificates from those countries which do not qualify to be what they are today? Do you know Let me just give you the one benchmark that we always put, secularism. మన మీద అయితే భూతంలాగా కూర్చుంది అది. Lot of debate happened in Constituent Assembly when we were making the constitution as to whether India should be called a secular socialist country or not. Do you know, unanimously it was decided we don't have to call ourselves secular. Ambedkar says we are anyway having a secular constitution, we respect every religion, so there is no need for calling ourselves, specially calling secular. Nehru says India is a deeply religious country. So for a deeply religious country like India, this European notion of secularism can create a lot of confusion. I mean, he tells Krishna Menon, who was preparing the preamble of our constitution, that go slow on this word. This was even Nehru. Because we are a very deeply religious society. We very naturally integrate religion with our day-to-day life. This is not quite, very unusual in this country. If you are a Hindu, you start your things as a Hindu. If you are a Muslim, you do everything as a Muslim. You go to any government office, a Hindu has Bhagwan in front of him on his table. कई लोगों के कंप्यूटर स्क्रीन पे रहता है. If it is a Christian, he will have Jesus photo in front of him. If he is a Muslim, he will have an ayat from Quran in front of him. Can you tell him that you are a secular country, you could have it? You can't say that. You should have accepted that I am a religious country. But हमको तो उनका सर्टिफिकेट लेना था. किनका लेना था? उनसे जिनका व्यवहार देखिए. UK, it still recognizes Christianity as its official religion. यूके का जो किंग या क्वीन होता है, दैट किंग और क्वीन हैज टू पब्लिकली वो हिज और हर अलिजियंस टू नॉट एनी क्रिश्चियनिटी बट एंग्लिकन क्रिश्चियनिटी ओनली. नाउ शुड वी से दैट यूके इज ए कम्युनल कंट्री? इन यूएसए president, when he takes oath, he takes it by placing his hand on the Bible. India में that permission is not there, remember. India में you can invoke in the name of God, you can say, but you can't put Bhagavad Gita हाथ में रख के लेता हूँ. वो हम क्योंकि हम सेकुलर है. We are more secular than America. क्योंकि अमेरिका में तो एक बिशप खड़ा रहता है, बिशप के हाथ में बाइबल रहता है, उसके ऊपर प्रेसिडेंट हाथ रख के ओथ लेता है. What happened was, we never had that confidence that my identity I should not give up. I said, Germany recognizes Christianity is the country's major religion. Is Germany a communal country? In our constitution, we don't officially recognize any religion. We called certain groups as minorities. We never defined. It's a big kahani. I'm not going into that story. But countries, until 1984, तो इटली में रोमन कैथोलिसिज्म यूज्ड टू बी द ऑफिशियल रिलीजन फॉर इटली. 84 में उनके पोप से एग्रीमेंट हुआ. पोप ने कहा कि वो मैं रखता हूं, तुम उसको हटा दो, तो वो हटा दिया. आर दे नॉट सेक्युलर? First of all, we have to get out of this big confusion. Be yourself. Be proud of the culture, religion, identity of this country. That kind of Bharat, that kind of identity we have to build for this country, not a copycat identity from the Western countries, Western powers.